Have you ever wondered what true beauty really is? Is it something you can see with your eyes? Or is it something hidden? Something you can only feel with your heart? Today, we're diving into a timeless tale that explores this very question. The story of Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, in a land not so different from our own, lived a wealthy merchant with 3 daughters. The 2 older sisters were vain and selfish, always dreaming of lavish parties and expensive gowns. But the youngest, whose name was Belle, was different. She had a kind heart and a love for simple things, like reading books under the shade of a tree. Her beauty wasn't just on the surface, it shone from within. One day, a terrible storm at sea caused the merchant to lose his entire fortune. The family was forced to move to a small cottage in the countryside. While the older sisters complained endlessly, Belle adapted, tending to the garden and making their humble house a home. Sometime later, the merchant heard that one of his ships had unexpectedly returned to port. Hopeful, he prepared for a journey to the city. "What shall I bring you, my dears?" he asked his daughters. The older 2 rattled off a list of jewels and fine dresses. But when he asked Belle, she simply said, "All I want, father, is for you to return safely. But if you could, please bring me a single rose, for they do not grow here." On his way home, disappointed and still poor, the merchant got lost in a dark forest. Just as he was about to give up hope, he stumbled upon a magnificent, enchanted castle. The gates opened on their own, and inside, a grand feast was laid out. With no one in sight, he ate, drank, and rested for the night. As he was leaving the next morning, he passed a beautiful rose garden and remembered Belle's wish. He plucked a single, perfect rose. Suddenly, a terrifying beast appeared, roaring with fury. "You have accepted my hospitality only to steal my most precious possession. For this, you must pay with your life." The merchant fell to his knees, begging for forgiveness and explaining the rose was for his daughter. The beast considered this and made a chilling offer. "I will spare you, but only if one of your daughters comes to live here in your place." When the merchant returned home and told his daughters what had happened, the older 2 wept and blamed Belle. But Belle, full of love for her father, said bravely, "Do not worry, father. I will go to the castle." A promise is a promise. At the castle, Belle was terrified of the beast, but to her surprise, he treated her not as a prisoner, but as a guest. She had luxurious rooms, a vast library, and beautiful gardens to explore. Every evening, the beast would join her for dinner. He was gruff and sometimes frightening, but beneath his monstrous exterior, Belle began to see a flicker of sadness and loneliness in his eyes. She realized his heart was not as monstrous as his appearance. Weeks turned into months, and Belle and the beast became friends. One day, the beast's magic mirror showed Belle that her father was terribly ill from grief. "Please," she begged the beast, "let me go to him. I promise I will return in 1 week." The beast, who had fallen in love with Belle, agreed, though it pained him. "Go," he said sadly, "but if you do not return, I will die of a broken heart." Back home, Belle nursed her father back to health. Her sisters, jealous of the fine clothes she wore, tricked her into staying longer than she promised. But one night, Belle had a terrible dream of the beast lying lifeless in the castle garden. Overcome with guilt and a surprising wave of affection, she rushed back to the castle. She found him, just as she had in her dream, near the rose bushes, barely breathing. "Don't die!" she cried, cradling his head. "Please, don't die! I've come back for you, because I love you." As her tears fell onto his face, a magical light enveloped them. The fearsome beast transformed back into a handsome prince. He explained that a wicked fairy had cursed him to remain a beast until someone could see past his appearance and love him for who he was. Belle's love had broken the spell. The castle returned to its former glory, the curse was lifted, and they lived happily ever after. Proving that true beauty is found not in what we see, but in the love we hold in our hearts. What did you think of this classic story? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more tales that touch the heart. Thanks for watching!